Hello everyone, this is Eva. Welcome to my reading space. Today I will be looking at the energies for the week ahead, and this time I am doing things a little bit differently. I am narrowing in the focus. You probably have seen in the title that I am focusing in on what women need to know. Those women who are seeking empowerment, seeking peace, seeking a different way of being, seeking healing, and so on. We're going to look and see what comes up in the cards together for us for the week ahead. And I thought I would start with the Sacred Destiny Oracle, just to kind of bring in a focus from nature. What does nature want to help us with as we begin this reading? How can we take the lessons of nature going forward for the week? We'll take a few cards from here. Thank you, Spirit. I'm calling in our spirit guides, the guides that look out for us and have only our highest good. And those guides, the highest realms of truth, beauty, justice, wisdom, grace, goodness, mercy, and love. I call in these guides to protect this reading and to bring through only those messages that are for our highest good, for our sacred path. Take the top three cards here. What do you have for us from nature, please, Spirit? This is one. Whew. The backs of these are already a blessing here with the sun and the waves. Potential, like that. Looks like a mountain with the Milky Way spread out above it. Security. We see what looks like a cave painting and a fire, as if we're finding warmth in the cave. And action. We have waves and a rather stunning sky there. Kind of gives me a Mars feeling. Mars. Action. Okay, so we're also going to use a deck that my guide suggested. This is a little bit unusual. It's a tarot deck called the Dark Goddess Tarot. And I have the indie version here. It's currently in mass market now. So this, we'll see what comes up. This is full of goddess energy, which I thought was appropriate considering we're narrowing in our focus. Actually, it was kind of what helped me understand I should narrow in the focus. When I asked them for their deck suggestions, and this was one of them, I thought, okay, so we're going to look at the energies that we need as women who are seeking to understand ourselves, understand our environments, the world we live in, the people we live with, how to find our wings, how to find our truth, our power, not give our power away, not hide ourselves from ourselves and from others. It's going to be a very difficult and scary process. It can be, it can take a long time and have many different chapters. It's a journey I've been on. And Artemis is actually a goddess I've kind of been working with more for the first time. When I say working with, I mean, it means different things to different people, and it means even different things to me at different times. But in the case of Artemis, it means that she was put on my radar this summer, and I decided to do a little study on her. I decided to kind of invite her to show herself in the sense of her energy, what her energy feels like. I just began a conversation really, and her energy comes through as she's a wonderful conduit of forest energy, of the energy of growth and truth and wisdom we find in forests. And she's also very, of course, very much about being true to oneself, true to herself. So I just thought I would note that since she flipped over, and we are looking to gain wisdom and clarity and really inspiration to be in our power this week. So what do we need to see? Let's do a spread with tops and bottoms, please, spirit guides. What do we need to see from these goddesses, please? Okay, this is over here. We have a break here. We're going to take these cards. Pele and She Who Watches. Ooh. Here in the book, I think this is the Page of Fire. They renamed these, and this is the king, so to speak, meaning this is like the younger energy, and this is more the masterful, older energy. What I'm sensing here is that the focus is these cards here, and they're both people cards rather than what we have down here. These are what we know as court cards in tarot. So we have kind of the daughter of the suit of fire and the grandmother of the suit of earth. And I feel like this may be a message that involves these two groups of viewers. Very young, or not very young, I just mean someone who's independent, but maybe not real settled in life, you know, younger woman. And then we have an older woman here who feels very settled. In fact, this is the card of Earth, so it has to do with, this is a Chinook goddess, or I don't know if they would call it that, which were Native American tribe in a part of the U.S. around the Columbia River. And I remember studying them a few years back, and of course there was, you know, a battle over, or difficulties with them keeping their land. There was a dam set up that changed where the waters were and everything. And this card is about women who endure, who have seen a lot, who have lived a long time and have endured through many changes and disappointments as well. So whether you're young or old, there's still a need for empowerment. Some people don't even come to empowerment until older in life. And I mean, I'm middle-aged, and I was middle-aged when I started on this journey of empowerment. Although I can remember being powerful in my youth. I'm fortunate that I had a very supportive upbringing, and I felt powerful in my youth. And then I tried to do the right thing with my life, but looking back, I was basically signing away my power to people who knew better. We have the Hierophant here, which in many decks represents the church figure on the throne, or like the Pope figure. And in my life, that's kind of what I did. I got kind of swept up in born-again Christianity, and I allowed the church to dictate what was right and wrong to me, and I signed away the power I had when I was younger. We'll talk about these cards here soon, because they kind of lay the foundation of what's going on here, and then we'll pull some more cards to get ideas for where to go with the messages that come up here. So here we have Pele, who is a Hawaiian goddess of the volcano and fire. She is a changeable goddess. I'm not an expert on any of these goddesses. I'm learning as I go. But she represents very changeable, meaning she can even present in the myths around her, she can present as an old lady herself. She is fiery and passionate and a little bit unstable the way that the volcano is. And it's funny because when this card came up, I first thought it was a volcano just because there's like this plume coming up. It looks like a plume of smoke. And it could actually be a volcano that is sort of smoking with the stars behind it. The word potential, though, speaks to me of stars and the mountain to be climbed. You know, like, where are you going? What's your big dream? What's that mountain that you feel you need to climb in your life? Even us of an advanced age can still feel that we have a mountain that needs to be climbed, and that can be intimidating or invigorating, or some of both. But it sort of can present us with shadows. It can bring shadows into our daily life as we feel like we haven't yet met our potential. And of course, the younger person may feel fretful or anxious that they haven't yet reached their potential. Security is something we're all kind of in need of, and we take for granted maybe when we have it, you know, when we have enough money in the bank, when we have a working car, when our job is going well, when we can pay our bills. But then we can look in the future and think, am I going to have enough to do my dream, or will I ever be secure enough that I can, you know, quit my job and do what I really want to do, that kind of thing. So we're young or old, we can be asking those questions. And security comes from having your power working for you. You're never secure, even if someone else is providing for you, if you can't have autonomy, you know, like if you're dependent on someone and they decide what you can and cannot do, you're not secure, because they can decide things that are not right for you and not helpful to you in your future. And of course, action means that we both need to take action and we probably want to take action. We are in an eclipse season right now. We're in between the lunar eclipse that we just had earlier in September and the next eclipse to come, which will be a solar eclipse. And so eclipses are times where shifts take place, often karmic shifts take place. And we see that here in this center card, which I kind of think of the anchor of the reading. We were in a shifting time frame, which it can be jarring or exciting. It can be illuminating. It can bring awakening, epiphanies. You can feel like, oh, I understand what I've been doing for the last 6 months, and I now know where I'm going to be going next. I like eclipse energy, but that's because I am still like shifting. I'm still always trying to get up my mountain, and I'm always looking for energy that helps me take action in that way. And I'm still driving towards security as well. Speaking of which, these two supportive energies here are where we're going to look to see what we need to know to work on our empowerment this week, on our liberation, on finding peace, whatever it is that you need this week. This is an Anatolian goddess, as far as I know. She's interesting. She was kind of brought into Rome, in Rome's heyday, and they adopted her basically as a goddess. So she has a history, you know, that goes back further than Roman and Greek mythology. And she's asking us to, again, we got the Hierophant, just like last week. We're asking ourselves, who is our authority? How do we become our own authority? And how do we operate ourselves in this world, especially, I mean, her story, it has to do with like men worshiping her and so forth. So it could have to do with how you're getting on with men this week. How are you navigating that? Are you giving away your powers to appease the men around you? Or are you defensive and perhaps creating problems with the men around you, like this volcano going off? How are you navigating in the world as a woman where there are men who you're going to have different responses to you? And some will want to put you on a pedestal, and some will want to tear you down off that pedestal, depending on your circumstances. So just, we're going to be pulling some cards to kind of get some advice around that. I do believe that we want to call on grace as much as possible, which is like unconditional love in action. That's one way of defining it. I'm going to write some things down here for us. I don't know if this will show up on screen. Grace. It's like a bestowal of undeserved or unearned acceptance. That goes too far though if you're accepting, bad behavior, and we'll talk about that too. We don't want to give people a pass for bad behavior, but we do want to treat them like a human being and understand that we all sometimes need a pass for bad behavior. And that's sort of like extending that grace to people, so that maybe you can find resolution without, what's the word I'm looking for, causing separation or aggravating the situation. And this goddess here, Kaliach, I'm not necessarily saying that right, Kalach, I think. I don't know how you say that exactly. She is also an older, a goddess of winter, a goddess of the mountains, a goddess who protects the deer and so forth who roam in the mountains or the hills of this land. I've seen her related to both Ireland and Scotland, so probably both, being a Celtic part of the world. She sees the bigger picture. She kind of steps up with her cyclopic eye there and sees the bigger picture from above. So in all that our dealings this week, we want to step back and take a breath, take a beat, like not react, try to stay away from being overly volatile and be a little bit more enduring. Find your inner center and ground yourself, and kind of like imagine a stone beneath you and within you, holding you steady no matter what you're dealing with. And now I want to turn to this deck here, the Goddess of Love Oracle, for some guidance. Speaking of unconditional love, this is a deck that does draw upon the energies of love, of grace, and so on. So we'll get a few cards here to sort of speak to these energies. I hope these are all on screen. These are such long cards. I'm gonna move these up just a little bit in case we don't need the tops of these necessarily. So in case you're not seeing the entire title, I'm sorry if that was off screen. Yes, calling in the guides of truth, beauty, justice, wisdom, grace, goodness, mercy, and love. What do you have for us today in this deck here? We get about 3 cards for guidance. Looking to kind of temper the exaggerated forces of fire, but do also Lean into your fire if that's what you're needing this week. If you feel like inspiration is coming and it's welcome, then open up to that inspiration and almost dance with it, move with it, ask it what it's showing you, and listen to your heart. Listen to what your heart tells you. If you're feeling a little too stuck, a little too tired of waiting or being the enduring person, also, I'd say dance and move your body and listen to your heart as you do. And you may find that you may start weeping suddenly because you're shifting by moving your body, especially to something like dance. You are shifting parts of your soul. Parts of your soul are getting activated, and that can bring weeping. It can bring laughter. But we are experiencing a shift here in the eclipse energies, so you can find yourself having like some major emotional events, and just be very patient and generous to yourself. Be loving to yourself. What do we have here, Spirit? Top 3 cards, please. Okay. Eruption of light. Rings of time. And shifting universes. Ooh, I've been talking about shifting and being in eclipse energy, where I said this last week in my reading too, where we kind of step into a timeline that serves our destiny more during eclipses. It can kind of shift us off of, like, we can be kind of doing one thing. I'll use the example of these readings. I was leaning towards doing more cultural and political readings because I care about those things. But then Spirit came in during this eclipse season and shifted me more towards talking about the things that I'm doing already in my writing, so that those two things are more in alignment. And it's a bit scary for me because I have to be a little bit more vulnerable in talking about these kinds of things. But I am, asking to do my purpose, fulfill my potential and climb my mountain. And that's what I was shown. So you may find yourself thinking you're going to do sort of one thing with your life's purpose, and in this season, it shifts noticeably, okay? So going back to this one, and I just realized I love these numbers. 11 on that card there, Eruption of Light, 44 for Rings of Time, and 7 for Shifting Universes. Some of my favorite numbers there. Eruption of Light. This is about feeling the light within you and giving it expression, whether that's through your voice, how you talk to others, even singing. Like I talked about dancing earlier. We also want to be able to voice what's going on inside of us emotionally. So if you can find some privacy somewhere this week, just see what comes out when you start to tone with your voice, or sing along to one of your favorite songs, or say prayers if that's your thing. Whatever it is, give yourself open your channel. Giving voice to something is a type of magic. It releases things that are locked up inside of us, and it sends our energy along into the world to manifest what it needs to manifest. So that is one of the messages we have for ourselves today. Also using your words. If you're in a situation, especially with other people, where you maybe, you're tempted to lose your cool, you're tempted to blow off steam like a volcano. This is not that. This is about the divine working through us. So maybe, retreat for a moment and regroup and find words that bring healing, find words that bring reconciliation, that find common ground, or just leave that person and go off and do your own prayers or your own ranting if you have to, to to your cat or dog or your favorite person who can stand that kind of thing and loves you through all of that. So this is using your voice especially, and letting light come out of you where possible. Then we have this card here, which is a really interesting card. It kind of reminds me of some of the things I was saying earlier. I might just read from the guidebook on this one. 44, Rings of Time. Divine timing is granted to us as a gift. Sometimes if we want to be further ahead than where we are, that's right, that gift can seem like a restriction rather than a generous holding, much like traffic that moves systematically so that not only one car but many can reach their destination according to a greater harmony and alignment. We are like individual cars that must sometimes accept red lights and at other times can flow swiftly through many green lights. It is just this way, the systematic flow of divine energy through human manifestation. Your spiritual maturation is happening perfectly. There is no need to bother yourself about timing. When doors open, walk through. Where there appear to be no such openings, rest and reflect. The rings of time serve you, beloved. This oracle brings you a message that the divine is completely responsible for the timing of every event, opportunity, and happening of grace in your life. All you need to do is live your life. Everything else is taken care of you for now. I'll get back to that in a minute. This applies to all of your plans and the unfolding of all your relationships. Let it all breathe and let the divine happen as it will. This poem here says, there is a beautiful silence now as I hold your hands and listen to your eyes across a span of moments called time. There are no words that say as much, nor walls that could confine the wings of our feelings or the rhythm of our eyes. It's an interesting poem. So we are in that eclipse season, and I've heard it said to not try and manifest things in eclipse seasons because it's really a time to receive and pay close attention, be sensitive to the subtle energies that are trying to shift you onto your path, okay, onto your dharma, your personal sacred path. We are always sort of finding that path and to some degree or other doing it, but we can get sidelined and sidetracked, and eclipses are opportunities for us to kind of snap out of it, wake up, and be like, oh yeah, I know, I remember, I wanted to be doing something here. Kind of like when you go looking for something in a room, and once you get to that room, you're like, what was I doing here? And you can't remember. Sometimes you have to retrace your steps, and eclipses can kind of bring us through a retracing of our steps. To go, you remember you wanted to be doing this? You remember how this was important to you? So don't worry if things don't happen as you want them to this coming week. Just allow, flow with the energies, let them take you or show you what they need to show you. Of course, always protect yourself, always use your common sense and good judgment in these things. Don't be taken for a ride where you shouldn't be. But given that you're going to be using your good judgment and your intuition and your discernment, also trust and flow with what is being shown to you. Then we have shifting universes, which is basically talking about how we may feel like things have changed, things have shifted, and we're ready to take action in a new way. And it is a card that encourages us to take action, to step up and do the thing. So if that is your situation and you are feeling like you have the bigger picture down here, you have the sight, and you have a sense of timing, the timing is right, then you are invited to do the thing that you feel excited to do. That is definitely indicated in this card. And like with the eclipses, it can bring in unexpected guidance, unexpected shifts. So just, seek counsel, seek your guides, your inner knowing, spirit, your counselor, whoever you turn to for, feedback on whether that seems like the right step to take. But I do think if you're feeling really good about it and it feels really supported, then it's probably blessed, okay? Whew, I think that is a wonderful way to end the message for this week. I thank you so much for joining me. I pray this week goes well for you. I pray that you find your center, your truths, your power, your peace, and you are able to express that into the world in the ways you are meant to. Until next time, I wish you all the best. Go in peace, be blessed, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.